In order to animate the properties of game objects in Unity, we use the Animator Component. Animator components have a number of properties which may differ depending on what you are animating. For example, a 3D humanoid character will require different settings than a 2D sprite. Here we have a scene with a model in it. The model has an animator component attached. The first property of the animator component stores a reference to an animator controller asset. Animator controllers are Unity-generated assets that contain one or more state machines which determine which animation is being played while the scene is running. These state machines can be on multiple layers and use parameters of various types to affect when they transition between states and blend. For example, you can set the parameters of an animator controller from your scripts to tell it if the character is running, jumping, or shooting a gun. It will then play and blend the animations automatically. The avatar is an asset that Unity creates when importing a 3D humanoid. It contains a definition of the skeletal rig that the character has. When adding a character of this type to your scene, the avatar field will automatically be filled in with an asset created for that character. Try to think of the avatar as the glue that binds the model to be animated to the animator. For generic objects without skeletal rigging, an avatar is not required. The Apply Root Motion field determines whether the animation can affect the transform of the game object, and is generally used with 3D humanoids. Root motion is the core movement within an animation clip. For example, imagine the difference between an animation of a character running on the spot versus one that is animated running a few paces forward. In the latter example, we can use the motion of the character moving forward to drive the character around in our game, looping that clip to give us realistic, continuous motion. However, if you simply have animations that run on the spot, you would uncheck Apply Root Motion and instead move the character via script. It is also possible to override this property entirely. This is done by creating a script with a call to the onAnimatorMove function and attaching it to your game object. See the documentation link below for more information on this. Animate physics can be either checked or unchecked. When it is checked, it means that the animations will be executed in time with the physics engine. Generally, this is advised if whatever you are animating has a rigid body. The calling mode of an animator affects whether or not the animations are being played while they're not being rendered. Always animate means that the animations will play even while not being rendered. Based on renderers means that the animation will only play while being rendered, meaning that when the character is obscured from view, animation will cease to save performance. With either option, the root motion is applied as it would normally. That is, if a character was being made to walk with root motion applied, then they would continue to move even while not being rendered, so that the character would end up in the correct place when they became visible again.